Started. It is 6:30. So, just over our overview of our agenda and typically the points that we cover. And our speaker tonight is Pam Keyes. Thank you so much, Pam, for coming and sharing some very valuable information with us. Just a reminder about your cell phones, please, and any side conversations. So we're going to dive right in, Steve, to your treasurer's report. July and August we have to cover tonight, I think.
Yes. Okay, well, I was told that I need to stand here because the camera's right there, and if I move over to the side and I point, I end up being out of the camera range. So I'm going to try and do this, although you can, it's all small, but you can probably see it better than I can, actually. So last month I was sick, and so I wasn't here, so I did not present the July information, which is in front of you right there. Again, it may be a little bit difficult to see, but I do an income statement for the month. So for the month of July, we had income of, I'm going to round off here, it looks like $765. And total expenses only of $100. That's the money that we donate to the church every month for this actual meeting. So on a monthly basis for the month of July, you know, whatever that number says, $664 if I'm not mistaken. And then just recently, I guess, with the June financials, I started doing an annual financial statement for the organization. And you can see there the income for year-to-date through July is about $4,100, if I'm not mistaken. You can see that facilities rental, $700, so that's 100 times, 7 months or $700. Our total expenses were about $2,400, and so our net income for the year is $1,648. You can sort of see the biggest expenses there. Obviously, it's the church, and then insurance. That is really about half of our insurance. We carry two policies. We carry directors and officers liability, and then a general liability insurance policy itself. That was for the general liability policy, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And in the next 4 days, so you won't see it in either the July or August financials, we owe $532 for the D&O liability insurance that's coming up for renewal on September 23rd, if I'm not mistaken. So that's July. I'm just going to run through August real quick, sort of the same thing, and then if you have questions, I'll be happy to answer those. I guess I'm the guy pushing the button here. Huh? There we go. Okay, so this is the second part of the July financials, in which we have a number of bank balances. We use both Truist and First Horizon, and I've mentioned to everybody in the past that we kind of use both of them because we're buying certificates of deposit, and we're just trying to keep one honest versus the other, and so we go to the best rate. So we have checking accounts at both Truist and First Horizon, and then we have money market accounts at both of them, and then our cash box has $103 in it. And I run this because the board has specifically asked me to make sure that we have access to about $10,000 just in case anything were to come up. And so I always run this just to prove that, we're running at that level. It's obviously $13,572. And then you can see that we have at the end of July, we had 5 certificates of deposit. And the next one matures towards the end of this month on September 25th, if I'm not mistaken. And ultimately, as we all do our reading, we know that there's some expectation that interest rates are going to start going down. You can see that we're 3.5% to almost 4%. I'm not sure if that's going to stick when we go in to renew our CD on September 25th. But again, I'll look at First Horizon's rates, and I'll also look at Truist, and we'll make a decision from there. So that's July. August, it's the same exact format. We had, I can't see it exactly, $200 and some dollars. Thank you. I appreciate that. And $100.12 of total expenses for $159 worth of income for the month. That takes our net income for August. You add, last month's balance plus $159, and you end up with whatever that turns out to be. Thank you. I'm sorry, I can't see that. So that's that, and then I do the same thing in terms of the cash available. It's up by about $150, so it's a little over $13,700. And again, the same 5 CDs, and the next one maturing on September 25th. So are any questions about that?
Do you plan for the one maturing this month, just to kind of take a look at the rates and see?
Yep. Yeah, exactly right. Because obviously we're running the $10,000 balance that we talked about, and part of that is so y'all understand. They have me keeping a relatively high balance because we've got the rest of the money invested in CDs, and they just don't mature all the time. So, could something happen where we're in July and money's not maturing till the end of September? So we keep a fairly large balance. I'm working over time, though there are sort of limited offerings from both Truist and First Horizons in terms of the maturities of their CDs to sort of spread it out. And what I'd ultimately like to end up doing is just having a maturity every month. And that would allow me then to take, with the board's approval, to take that balance down, because we could take it to $4,000 or $5,000 knowing that, any month we're going to have a maturity coming out of the CD portfolio that could meet whatever, unusual needs might come up. But at this stage of the game, we're carrying a fairly high balance, but we're working to try and even out those CDs in terms of maturity dates and so forth. So good question. Any other questions? Okay. Yeah. Oh, thank you. And I guess I end up doing the minutes too. So one of the responsibilities of the treasurer is to have a financial review done of the financials each year. And I took this over in kind of late 23, and the person that was doing the financial review from us had moved off the island. And so it took me a while to find somebody. I finally, about 5 months ago, got somebody to do the 2023 review. Again, this is not an audit. It's simply, an accounting person who looks through just to make sure that they don't see anything that's, out of sorts in terms of our financials. I can tell you, we write 8 checks a year. So it's not entirely complicated. Probably, any of us could do it. But the reality is Bob did it in 2023 for us, and took it back to Bob and just got this done at the end of June. You can see his letters dated June 20th. And essentially what he said was everything looks fine. He did note that I think it was in the month of June, if I'm not mistaken, that right after we opened the First Horizon accounts, there were actually 4 charges on our account for about $1,000. And before the end of it was in July, excuse me, and by the end of July, First Horizon had already credited us back for the entire amount. So he noted that in the review, and you can see that if you read the short letter that he prepared, but otherwise everything was okay. And so, now I found the person that can actually do this review for us. We should be able to be right on time and prompt after we get through the 2025. And again, just to be clear, this was a review of 2024 financials. Any questions about that? Okay. And I think the last thing is, I think these are posted on the website. Am I?
They're posted on the website, and
sort of,
link to it in the email.
right, and you kind of summarized it a bit too,
I
did you not?
summarize the
Okay.
overall meeting in the email.
Yeah, so at this stage of the game, I guess you will just call the question about approval, right? Thank you, Bob. Do we have a second? Any opposed? Then we'll consider them approved. Okay.
All right. No, that's, just so you know, that's that's 4 different, those are all the notes from that meeting, so. Pam, we're ready for you. Thank you so much. And Deb is going to just switch over to your slides, so thank you. Thank you so much.
Don't give me a mic. No. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me to come in this evening and talk about sewer. I overheard somebody saying, well, this isn't the most exciting topic, but you got to have a career in something, right? I am excited to meet with you all. I think the last time I spoke with this team was a couple years ago, pre-hurricanes. So since then, of course, there's been a lot of recovery efforts and a lot of your community coming together to deal with those issues. So this is probably a timely topic to get back to. Tonight, I do have a little bit of a couple of slides. I have an agenda. I can go as quickly or as slow as you need. First, I just kind of wanted to talk about really how we came to working with the state and looking at aged septic systems. So I'm not against a septic system if it's designed and it's placed in the right place and there's the proper maintenance. It does its job. What's happened is within the state, we have a lot of septic systems that are just aged and they need replacement. The state started looking at this about the same time that our natural resources folks started looking at it, and they were able to tie water quality issues with aged septic systems. So the state came in, their studies show that really the conventional septic systems didn't treat all of the nutrients. There's advanced septic systems where there's an aeration chamber and there's more treatment, and that improves removal of nutrients. Then the next step is our central wastewater treatment plants. And then, of course, you get the most removal of nutrients when we go to advanced systems. So the state is really trying to encourage people to go to advanced systems or to connect to central systems. But I think you guys know going to central systems is more complicated than maybe what it sounds like on the surface. So I think having that option of when it's time to replace your septic system to go to advanced treatment, that's a good option for many areas. This, you've got copies of my presentation, so if you'd like to get copies of this, I'm sure it can be emailed to you. This is your island. The red areas are the septic systems. The yellow systems are what's connected to our wastewater treatment plant. So as you can see, you're definitely heavy on septic systems. We've got about 800 connections to the wastewater plant. The plant is about 400,000 gallons per day. That's a very small plant. We have a project going on right now so that we can provide advanced treatment, and we should have that project completed in August of '26. So even though advanced treatment is required for those areas within the BMAP area, that's the best management action plan area. Those are sensitive areas. Pine Island is still very important to us because you've got a very sensitive environment. So we keep you in the study and keep you in consideration because we know how important your environmental quality is to your lifestyles, and that's why you're out here. So definitely have more septic systems here on the island. When we did our study, which was back in '22, we tried to say, okay, if we wanted to put everybody on Central, what would that take? And what we would have to do is upgrade our transmission lines. We'd have to do a collection system, which means lift stations, upgrade lift stations. And we would have to add capacity to our plant for more than double, about 1 MGD to 1.5 MGD. And we've got cost estimates there, but please understand those are old estimates now. But it's very costly to get the whole island converted. We were required by the state to do a countywide wastewater management plan. The plan is on our website if you're interested to see the entire plan. But basically what we tried to do was identify the sensitive areas and then group them together so that we can start looking at potential project areas. And as I said, we did include South Pine Island because we knew that there was some interest here in these type of discussions. When we looked at the numbers, just for Pine Island, you're in the 3rd tier, which is a lower tier, lower priority. Let me look at my notes here. I think we included about 200 connections. That's what we could do without doing improvements to the plant. So about 200 connections. And at that time, our estimate was about $11 million. So that gives you kind of a scale of what these types of projects cost. We do have a pilot program with the highest priority, which is the Billy Creek Orange River. So if I go back, operator. If I go back, you'll see that group 1 adjacent to the river on the south. That's our first project. So that rose to the highest priority given the sensitivity of Billy's Creek and being that close to the river. It's about 90 connections. We asked the state for funding. They weren't able to give us funding and said, if you get the design done, then you would score better. So we went to our legislators and they provided us with $1.1 million to do the design for those 100 or 90 connections. We just entered into a contract for those design services, and though we should be able to put it out to bid to better understand construction costs within about 12 months. It's difficult right now to estimate construction costs. It's very market-driven, especially in this area. There's a lot of recovery work going on. There's a lot of work with all the utilities. But once we put it out to bid, then we'll be able to report to you kind of what are those real costs look like. We went back to our legislators with an estimate of about $4 million, and that we were able to obtain those funds. So for that project, for about 90 connections, we've got about $6 million. So that's a good start. That's our pilot program. We've never done these type of programs before, so we're anxious to work through it, and we'll be happy to come back out and report to you how it goes. In the meantime, there is no funding source for other projects. However, the county does have funding for interested neighborhoods under their MSTBU program. You're familiar. You're laughing, so you're familiar with the MSTBU? Okay. The lighting, I think here on the island you've got a road and maybe lighting. It's a way to finance it over a 15-year period. They have their own program. Nobody's used it for utility projects, but it could be if there was an interest in a neighborhood. So kind of going back to the map, what we tried to do, like I said, is we included a project in that southern area where we could connect without having to upsize the plant or the transmission lines. So that will at least give you an idea for the rest of your areas. So that's where we are today. We should have more information for you, like I said, in about 12 months when we've got our pilot project out to bid, get some costs back. I'll be able to talk about real costs instead of estimates.
What is the timeline on that first grouping one?
So what we'd like to do is get it under contract for construction within the next 12 months, and then it'll take about another 12 to 18 months to construct.
So the cost estimate you just mentioned, is that to actually connect the home? So is it the pipe from the road to the home, or is that an additional cost from the homeowner?
That's right. Right now, through the legislative funding, there should be no cost to the customer. The funding is very competitive statewide. You shared with me some projects that are happening throughout the state, and sometimes there's not a funding source, and so communities are asked to contribute. But the goal is to get as much grant funding as we can to support these type of projects. You're probably familiar with Cape Coral Utility. They have their extension program. It's very expensive. Our board hasn't chosen to ever mandate connection because of the expense. So it was a hot and heavy topic 3 years ago, prior to hurricanes and hurricane recovery. And now, at this point, there's not a dedicated source of funding. Yeah.
Please come up and use the microphone so the people on the live stream can hear.
Yeah, thank you.
I see 11 boxes up there. If you can project down the yard where we stand, month, year, date, how far out are we even being considered possibly? Is it a 5-year projection, a 10-year projection? So that Pine Island may not see anything for the next 5, 10, 15 years?
There is no schedule because we've only got the pilot program right now. There's no
I understand that, but I'm saying you have a good feel for what's
Sure.
going on in reality in this world.
Yeah.
What are your, and
I couldn't even guess when there would be funding. We've got the 3 tiers that I had talked about. You're in the 3rd tier. We're just doing our very first project.
okay, and how many
So-
years did it take to get to the first project?
3 years.
Okay.
3 years. That's why I think we'll have better numbers for you within the next 12 months.
But again, those numbers are extended out many, many years.
The numbers will be for the actual construction of our first pilot
Okay,
program.
but I'm trying to understand a bit more specifically about Homeland.
Yeah, there's no further plans. This
Okay,
is-
thank you.
Yep, thanks.
There.
Yeah.
Chris Wolzek. So, Group 1, you're estimating around $6 million for this project?
Correct.
Design and everything?
Correct.
Okay, so that's about 70 grand property. Just so everybody knows, 70,000 is what it is. So.
Yeah, Cape Coral's extension, the last that I read, they were at about 40,000 per household. So when we put it out to bid, we'll have a better idea, but in my mind, it's going to be 30 to 40,000 per. Well, there's connection fees. We have to, it also includes abandoning the existing tank.
And
Ye-
using existing infrastructure, well, current system,
Yeah,
not even bringing new structure online. So you're missing out
Correct.
on scope, so, yeah.
correct. So every project's going to be different based on the specifics, but in our mind, it's $30,000 to $40,000.
And it's typical septic systems, so everyone knows that, you know,
Can you,
want you to-
I'm sorry, please use the mic.
just to give people reference, yeah,
Sure.
typical septic's gonna be in your 20, these high efficiency ones are gonna be up in the 30s, so that's what.
Yeah, we've looked at a couple of different situations, and we're trying to figure out what costs, like, and the fact of the matter is they come out very even. Because with the utility, of course, you have ongoing costs, you have your monthly utility bill. With the advanced systems, you've got the construction costs, but then it's under your control, and there's maintenance costs, but you don't have that ongoing costs. So it's we were trying to make judgment based on economics, and it really comes down to how economically can we get it connected.
I just have a quick question, Pam. You mentioned there's 9 private plants. I think we might be one of them where I live. Where they'll be, you had mentioned also not mandating. So if we wanted to continue and, you know, it's up to the DEP standards and whatnot, we could continue.
That's correct. My understanding is a couple of years ago, DEP made changes, and they really took ownership of septic systems. The way it is written now, if you need to replace your septic system, they're going to require you to go to advanced. They did not take that extra step to say your system needs to be replaced and it has to go to advanced. So there, I think it lost a little bit of steam. I kind of anticipated that they would have continued down that road, and they did not. And I think it was just because of hurricanes, and they lost that steam because we were all focused on recovery efforts. So I can't really tell you what will happen in the future, but as of right now, nobody is forced to upgrade. Yep.
Well, it's upgraded.
Oh, yeah, and especially, and that's going to be one of those things we'll have to work out as well, is if we do a connection to the collection, and you've already got an advanced system, and it's permitted and it's running, then, you know, I just can't imagine that we would say, oh, you've got to participate. So those are new issues for us. We've not done this before, but just the numbers, it's such an investment to get advanced treatment. You know, I can't imagine. So.
Several years ago, as in when Rick Scott was governor, a law was passed requiring, and I don't remember the time frame, but periodic inspections and maybe pumping of home septic systems. And that quickly fell out of favor because people complained about how much that would cost. Are there any state or county, perhaps not requirements, but recommendations for private septic system maintenance?
I believe the state has new requirements. Do not remember if they are for, I'm not sure that they were approved. They were also looking at periodic maintenance and inspections, and I don't remember if they were approved. The county does not have those type of requirements.
Thank you.
So they are required for the advanced systems, and these are for new builds over 1,200 square feet. So that is a requirement
Okay.
for that type of house and the 50 house.
Thank you.
So I'm assuming that this whole meeting here is in the fact that you have findings of the water qualities of Pine Island Sound and Matlacha Pass?
My understanding is you're not, like I said, you're not within a BMAP area, which is impaired, but you are in a special, and I'd have to get clarification through our natural resources team, but you're an area of interest, of course, because of the proximity to all the water.
Wait, I should clarify. Our waters are impaired. We're listed.
Yeah.
We're just not included in the county's BMAP.
Yeah,
We would have to create a separate BMAP, and I don't know that the county has any interest in doing that. But this is DEP mandated, right?
It
the
is.
BMAP.
It is, and they may change that the next review. The BMAPs are reviewed every 5 years, so you know, things change every 5 years.
When this one was created, they were most concerned with the water quality in the Caloosahatchee. They were not looking beyond and not looking at our waters in Charlotte Harbor, Pine Island Sound, or Matlacha Pass. That's why we're not included in the BMAP, and that's why we're third tier, I think, on this septic to sewer
Can you share
plan.
what created the concern? Is it fecal matter? Is it oil? Is it?
Oh, it's for nutrients in general, correct? Yeah.
It kind of started in the Springs area, in that Central Florida area, where they have the natural clear springs, and then people started studying, you know, and being concerned with water quality. Then we went through a period where we were dealing after Irma with all of the algae blooms, and it just spurred that, what's changed, what's causing this. And for our natural resources department, I mean, they're constantly working on these type of projects to improve water quality. And then it came to, you know, is it utilities, is it septic systems, age of septic systems. So it was just kind of a process of trying to search for water quality issues.
Okay, thank you.
So Pam, while Leo's coming up, I think you had it on there. How many septic systems do we have on Pine Island?
So you've got, let me go back to make sure, I want to say 5,000 properties. Yeah, so you have 800 connections and 5,000 septics.
Okay, and at 200 a shot, we're talking way past my lifetime.
That's correct. This is a really, yes, it's,
It brings up the.
yeah, it's one of those things
If
where,
you're gonna talk,
Yeah.
please come forward and talk. Okay.
I
No.
was waiting for everybody to quiet down.
Yeah. Thank you, Leo.
I mean, you know,
Yeah.
give me
Yeah.
a break
No.
here. Either
The guy's
quiet down,
the guy
let me
behind
talk.
you. Yeah. The guy behind you stood up like he wants to talk again. You got to come forward if you want to say something. But I guess
where
my
we at?
question is no.
Wait.
Yeah.
So where are we at? I'm up here at this podium, right? I'd like to make a statement. Okay, then you can talk. Fine? Appreciate it.
Okay, but essentially,
Let's talk to the gentleman standing up behind you.
yeah, not you, Leo.
Let me talk, and then he can come up here,
Go
okay?
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, my problem is I see the budget was passed for Lee County. What was it, $3 billion? $3 billion and 5% increase for all salaried people? Okay, that's a huge amount of money. And you can't say to me that some of this can't be ferreted out. $1 million here you're talking about to do the projects and get this thing down so you can have a conversation with the state. Without doing the studies, you're never ever going to have a conversation with the state getting the money that you need to do it. With $3 billion, folks, nobody's going down there to Lee County and saying, hey, how are you spending $3 billion this year? My taxes are not going down, they're going up, and the service is going down. That's the problem, okay? And people need to understand that. Until you go down there and talk to these people, the projects that they're going to do are the ones they want, not the ones you want, okay? Thank you.
so to just address that comment, I do appreciate that comment. And as I said, once we get real numbers for the pilot project, we'll have a better discussion about true costs.
And then, just to confirm, the main that's running is going to the center and then down to St. James City, correct? So it's going all the way down, you have
Yeah.
the main?
Yeah, you can, and I'm sorry, that's hard to see, but yes, it goes down to that little yellow square down into that area.
So there's no main going north to Bokeelia?
No.
Okay.
No.
Just making sure.
I have a question. You want to go ahead and?
Yeah,
finish?
let me just finish, if you don't mind. Are you not mandated, is the county not mandated to actually make progress on this? It sort of feels like if you have money left over, you know, we'll do this. But how do we make progress?
I think, no, we're not mandated. We were required to do the plan, and we're required to identify projects, and we will continue to look for funding. I think how you make it happen, my suggestion is if you have a neighborhood or an area that really is interested and potentially ready to participate in the cost, we start going down the MSTBU process. That is a process where you need over 50% of the neighborhood to approve and say, yes, we're committed to this project and we want to go down this route. Through the MSTBU, they hire an engineer to do a study for you all to say, this is the conditions, this is the proposed project, these are proposed costs, so that you can off-ramp if there's no funding or if you don't want to go forward. But right now, the MSTBU is the best way to get organized as a community to say, no, we're committed, this is what we need to do.
Just inquiring about, so an understanding is, it says 9 private package plants. What does that mean?
So a package plant is smaller than our wastewater treatment plant. So it'll be a treatment plant for a smaller number of customers. So it could be for a site, if it's, or it could be for, for.
Something the size of the condos, like Blue Crab Key probably has one, and I know there's another Captain's Cove.
The new construction that's going on or anticipated in the future, is somebody mandating that? Or like, for example, down by Publix, there's something going on down yonder and it keeps getting bigger. Is that kind of a place?
Here on the island?
No, it's only
Okay.
Is that kind of a place, a new construction, it's probably townhouses, is that required at that point, mandated? Or is it just
They'll have to
suggested?
provide, they'll have to provide wastewater treatment for
As
their,
a private one?
as a private.
So
If-
that becomes 10 then at that
Yeah,
point?
if they're close to us and they can connect to us and it makes economic sense, then we would work with them. Typically, they'll come call us, they'll say, where's your infrastructure, can we connect? If it's not economical, that's when they go into
Okay.
private.
So this is something that's mandated through the county then?
If we're close enough, yes, we want you to connect.
No, I'm talking about, again, this private plan. So
That's true.
over the last couple of years,
Yeah.
I heard about new construction going on behind this place here and about 3 or 4 places. And it's probably 8 to 10 or 20 homes or 50 homes or 100 homes. Is the county getting involved in the zoning aspect of it, saying that you must have a private package to support X number of homes? Is there a
Yes.
number of homes?
Yes, the developer has to come up with their plan on how they're going to handle their wastewater. They either work with us to connect or they work with DEP
Okay.
to permit that.
Okay. Okay, the other question is, what is this advanced septic system you talked about? What is that? I mean, I've got a tank down there, it catches it all and the effluent goes out, et cetera, et
Yeah.
cetera. But what is the advanced one? What is?
So
What
you
is that
take,
all
for the advanced, you can upgrade your existing septic system to advanced treatment. You have a different chamber. So your solids are in the first chamber or the first tank, and your solids float down. You know,
Right.
they settle out. The water flows over into the second chamber. It has an aeration
Okay, now
system.
so it's 2 holding tanks,
Yeah,
basically, effluent
yeah.
going out itself, and it
Yeah.
perks up and that, and they're there.
Yeah.
The other question is, I saw you said that there's 4 foot is groundwater. Is that real?
Those are DEP standards.
No,
and-
I'm talking about for Pine Island, is that real? I
Yeah,
guess so.
I would.
'Cause I tell you right now, it ain't 4 foot.
No,
Okay.
no.
When they do, I'm going back and way back when I was a health officer at one point,
Yeah.
doing something, we used to go out and perk the ground itself. Is that required now to do that before they put in a septic?
You know what? I'm really not familiar with septics. I've never owned
Oh,
one,
okay.
and they're
No, I'm talking
permitted.
about the county or
No,
something.
the county doesn't do septic systems. DEP, Department of Environmental Protection, they're the ones who permit and inspect septic systems.
Would they do a percolation test at that point down? Or
I think they do, but I don't want to speak
They
for
do?
them. Okay.
So back to his first question, essentially, if there's construction going on the island, there's no allowance for more septic tanks to be going onto the island?
No, there is. There is. So people come to the county, they say, I want to build something. The county says, how are you going to deal with water and wastewater? If they're close enough to connect with us, then it's, let's work with LCU, let's get connected. If they're in the northern part or they're not close to us, then yes, then they go to DEP and say, I need a package plant or a septic system.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming there are specific rules about whether you need a package plant depending on how large your development is.
That's right. That's right. That's all worked out. And then for new septic systems, it has to be the advanced treatment. But that's all done through the state.
Yes, well, we were an owner of one of the new systems that we had to do about 5 years ago. Our septic system was on a canal. Leach field was about 6 feet from the canal, which most of them, old ones, are these days. We chose to upgrade and get it away from there. So we have the 2 tanks and a leach field, and we have a beautiful mound out in front of our house about 3 foot high, which during the last 2 hurricanes came over that. So our leach field, which is up above tide level, was underwater. So all you people, and us included, that live on canals, we are right on the edge of just dumping stuff right in, especially the old system, right into the canals through leaching.
Hi.
When was the requirement for new individual septics to be advanced? When was that requirement in place?
I believe it was 2022.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I got that.
2022, okay. We had a house built, we started the build in 2021. We completed the build in 2023. The septic system was installed in 2023, but the planning for it was done prior. So I'm not sure whether I have an advanced system or not.
I think that
It's a 2-chamber system, but I
yeah.
don't know about aeration or anything like that.
I think that the state, the rollout was a little abrupt. So the state was kind of like, well, as of today. So if you did your planning prior, you probably put in a traditional. And then in July of 2022, they were like, well, as of today, if you do a new one, this is what's required. So it's probably worth a call to the Department of Health, but there's no requirement for you to upgrade. You've got a brand new system, you're maintaining it,
Right.
yeah.
Would the description, we should have paperwork at the house for
I
the
think so.
description of the system and the planning and all
Yeah.
that. It would say whether it's advanced or.
And there's also a lot of vendors, local vendors who do septic systems. You can give them a call. I'm going to throw out a name, no favoritism, just Cruise is one of those
Okay.
contractors that do private septic, so they should be able to help you out as well.
Okay.
How many tanks do you have, do you know?
Well, we have 2 tanks and we have a lift station.
Oh,
Okay.
that's
Yep.
advanced. I think you're good.
Yeah.
But no one has ever said anything to us about required inspection or maintenance.
Again, I know the state was kind of going down that road. I don't know that they actually changed that. I think
Okay.
we're still on the honor system.
Okay.
There was a state law, like
Yeah.
Ellen said, there was a state law and it was repealed. So
Yeah.
you're no longer required to have any kind of inspection, to my knowledge.
Great idea, though. I mean, it's like a great asset. You want to make sure it's working for you. So getting an inspection every couple of years and getting it pumped out.
Yeah.
I mean, these are expensive units. It's like owning a car. You want to do maintenance on your car. So,
And I think the key to people who have septic systems is not to wait until they fail to
Yes.
pump them out.
yes, yes,
Pump
please.
them out on a regular basis, about every
Yeah.
2 years or 3 years, depending on how size the tank is.
Yeah, it's easy to lose track of time, for sure. And especially when there's no moving parts with traditional septics.
My turn. Okay, so there's a lot of development that have been planned or gone through the planning department that would normally, by size, wanted to hook up to the septic or the sewer system. So my question has to do with the current size of our system, the sewer system. If they were to go through and build and connect like they say they're going to, will it be large enough, and do you track that?
We do track that. That's why in our plan, we estimate we can only do about 200 connections before we start making improvements to the transmission lines and to the plant. I mean, that's a small plant, and it was designed for only a few customers. So if the process for a new developer to come in, if they want to connect to the plant, they pay for the connection, the lines, to connect to the closest line that can take their waste that brings it to the plant. All new connections pay a capacity fee so that when we do have to do improvements to the plant to increase capacity, there's some funding there for that from developers. So you're trying to have development pay for those improvements.
Okay, so for instance, there is I don't know the proper name of it. I just call it the nudist colony because it lives behind me. And that was back in the 80s is when they were initially, and it's like 400 and I think it was something units. It could be, it's been a while since I looked at it to get the exact numbers. But it may have go over those 200. So if they had a permission slip from you guys before to hook up to it, it sounds like it might carry it too far, over capacity.
So for now, based on our projections, our plant is operating well. We're able to handle the demand. So if something was built that many years ago, they're still connected.
No, they have.
approval to build, but they've never built.
Oh, they would have to come back, of course, they would have to come back in and work with the county, and we'd have to take a look at it to see.
That was probably done many, many years ago. So before they would start building again, that has to be brought forward because they got their approval from the county to hook up to the system online, on the line.
There's a lot of cooperation between us
Right.
and new development, so if they came in, we would have to evaluate the system again and say, okay, as of today, here's our flows, here's what you're going to add to it, so it would have to be reevaluated.
Is there a time period, an average time period, if it's been more than a year since it wasn't developed, or 5 years?
Yeah, usually with the amount of, we've gone through some tough planning periods because of the recession, where projects were stalled, and then with COVID, projects have been stalled, and with hurricanes, projects have been stalled. So it's really kind of we want to work with new development to see what we can do. So they would have to come in and work with us. Because when they build it and they connect, they hand those assets over to us. So they, of course, have to build to our standards. We work with them. So that's when that evaluation would kick up again.
It's something that I might want to follow up on with the exact names and things like that later.
That sounds good.
Thank you.
So Pam, your study is how far forward looking?
Oh, boy. It's supposed to be, I believe, to 2030.
Okay.
Kind of that timeline. And again, we've only got funding for the pilot project.
Okay.
Yeah.
But is there any projection in there about expansion of the treatment plant out here?
No, our only improvement to this plant is for the advanced treatment. We want to get the advanced treatment, but based on our projections, we're going to be able to handle those who could connect to us without septic conversion. Now, if people get excited and want to do septic conversion, then we'll have to reevaluate that. But again, our plan was just that little yellow space right there. That, hey, that's an easy, low-hanging fruit. But to do a program, you know, that would take quite a bit of funding. It's hard to retrofit these issues, and that's as your utility person, it's frustrating because the state's going, oh, just connect to Central, and it's, as you can see, it's complicated. You have to have infrastructure in place to be able to accept that flow. Your plant has to be able to accept that flow. You have to know what to do with the effluent. Once you've treated it, now where does it go? So from, you know, for me, it's frustrating because it's like, oh, it's easy. And then when you look at the costs and you look at the mechanics of it all, no, it's not easy. No. It can be done, though. It's just not easy. So I would love to come back out and report when we've got some real numbers for our pilot program. This is I would just like to keep in contact and let you know that kind of our progress, how we do. So.
Pam, I'm sorry, one question that came up before, it's a kind of off topic of septic to sewer, but we've gotten this several times over the years, is the package plant at Phillips Park smells very bad. And we have, I bet, yeah, you can look around the room and everybody's nodding their heads. I think our residents have complained in the past and have been told that's just the way it operates. And nobody should be worried about because nobody lives there. But here we have families and kids using the park. So I'm just wondering if you could put that on your radar to look into for us and let us know.
Why don't you email me?
Okay, I'll be happy to email you those comments.
And then I can talk to our partners in FDEP.
Perfect.
And hopefully that they can put that pressure.
Thank you.
There,
yes.
If
there's a more appropriate place to put those comments, just let me know.
Yeah, but start with me. Start with me.
Thank you.
Okay.
And thanks again.
Oh, thank you all. And, you know, please enjoy.
Thank you so much. Okay. We're going to say nothing but good things. Don't worry.
Pam, you don't even have to leave.
She wants to go. Oh, we'll talk about you without you leaving. Thanks again. Okay, getting to our community updates, we have some information to share on, first one is on the Conservation 2020, and the funding you may have already seen is in question. And I believe they're still going to have some details in the Eagle this week, is that right? Yes, okay. Okay, very good. So we just have to watch for that and throw our support as much as we can toward that.
Yeah, that'd be
Go
great,
ahead.
Bob. As the GPICA board is going to send a letter to county commissioners encouraging them to fund Conservation 2020 as they should be by ordinance. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay, I talked to Renee Monte at 2020 yesterday, or got a message from her. The agenda is out for the county commission meeting coming up on Wednesday of next week, or Tuesday of next week. And it's at 9:30 at the main courthouse. There are 9 parcels on the agenda for 2020 approval. 8 of them are on the go. One of them has been pulled back because of amount of money they want for it, and are in negotiations. On Pine Island, we have 3 parcels. 2 of them are up here across from Winn-Dixie, 58 acres roughly. As a Pine Island boy, I grew up on this island, and remember when it was all pines and palmettos. When I walked on that property with the owners about 7 years ago, when I walked through that little corridor of about 30 feet of earleaf acacias and other growth along Stringfellow, and walked in, and it's like opening up a curtain into yesterday. It is probably the most pristine part of Pine Island left. And I've been working with the owners with 2020, with the Calusa Land Trust, trying to get that property. It was out of the Calusa Land Trust budget. We couldn't afford it. We went to the owners and suggested that they go to 2020. They didn't know how to do it, so we worked with them to go to 2020 for the application. we are there now. We're at the very point of getting it done. So any island support, if you want to come to the meeting and just show your physical support, that would be great. If not, you can comment up until Monday night, I think, on 2020 about it, or to the county commissioners, and make your comments in support of it. But let me tell you, one of the properties is over on Sanibel, and it's only like 10 acres, and they want $2.4 million for that. So our little $1-point-something million for 58 acres is the deal, if we can get it done. So I encourage you, if you can, to come out and do that. So there is one other parcel that's on the agenda from Pine Island, and it's down by Smokehouse Bay. It's a little 10-acre parcel that's split off with a 20-acre piece. It's contingent to the CLT property, the Ed Chapin Preserve. Looks like it's an old palm farm, which takes a lot of work to reclaim that. But anyway, those are the 3 properties on Pine Island that's up for agenda at the county commissioners.
Hey, Bob, so maybe people can't make the entire trek all the way to Fort Myers on Monday or Tuesday, whenever the meeting is. Can you tell them how they can actually comment to the commissioners? Do you
Well, there's
understand
an
that
online,
process?
and yes, I have a site right here that I will put out front. If anybody wants to photograph it, you can go on and give your comments online. So I'll put this out if anybody wants to photograph it and then download it. You can make your comments online.
I also put the commissioners' emails and a link to where you can comment on things in our last email that I sent out, and there's a link to that on our Facebook page. So you can find it in there as well.
Okay, good.
And I think just as a general point, I think when the commissioner's agenda actually comes out, you can actually make comment on any item that's on the agenda. So you just have to find out where the agenda is. You'd have to go to, what, leagueov.org or whatever
We're
it
number
turns
42 on the agenda.
There you go. And so,
they're
yeah.
they're grouping them all 9 parcels under the item 42. Now, whether they're going to do it individually or they're going to break them out into each parcel, I don't know. But if we're not there and they break it out, then we're in trouble. So I'm going to be there to make sure and trying to round up all the support I can to be there to say, when we were doing the review committee's agenda this summer, the Sanibel parcel was on that agenda, and the group advised not to go forward with that property because of the price. Sanibel had about 25 people there that spoke for going forward with it, and they changed their mind and put it on the thing. So
Is
just
that the
shows
one
you-
that's now removed, though?
I'm sorry?
Is that the one that's removed, though, now?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay,
it's not. It's
interesting.
on the
Okay.
agenda. Yeah. The other thing is, we talk about 2020 going away. There's like, I think 19 parcels up for nomination. No, there's 43 parcels up for nomination for 2020. There's $19 million left in the kitty. So gives you an idea, $43 million worth of property and only $19 million in the kitty going forward. So they've itemized the items. Fortunately, we're in the top tier, the top 1. There's 3 tiers, and we're in the top 1. So we're in that group. That's good news. Next year, it would probably not fly. And just to give you a little history, this started back in 1996 or 98, 7, when it was 90 acres. Now it's only 58 acres. It didn't go through. Now there's 40 acres that's gone to development, like a shrimp farm and some houses and stuff all the way down to Maria Drive. So if we don't save this, once it goes under the bulldozer, it's gone.
Okay, and then the next topic is, we're watching closely, is the Upper Captiva. There was supposed to have been a meeting that we were going to attend August 28th, but it was postponed. And I think, Steve, you said October 24th now, I think is what you said you had read. So
yeah.
we're watching that closely as well, and we'll continue to make sure the support for in the right direction on that. Carol? Would you mind coming up? I missed your meeting, I'm sorry, a couple weeks ago, and I know you gave us this information about your planning for the Christmas on the island, but I think you might have some other information that we would love to hear. Would you mind coming up? Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll give the happy news is the Matlacha Civic Association is prepping for holiday time, and we're going to, of course, have our tree lighting. George Williamson has a lot at the corner of Island Avenue and Pine Island Road, and we have our tree lighting there every year. And this year, and Gonzalez always gives us a palm tree to decorate, and that's the big event. But this year, our plan is we would like to have a little forest of trees, because we've learned the tall Christmas trees, we always seem to get a really bad storm in December and they snap. So we're looking to do little 6-foot trees, but a lot of them. So that information and details will come out at our next meeting. It's September 29th. And if you're interested, we'd love to have some Pine Islanders come out and help us fluff the trees, bring some fishing ornaments, and help us decorate the trees. That'll be a lot of fun. So I was also asked to give an update to you on the dangerous buildings that are at the gateway of Matlacha coming into the island. And I've been working with the county for several years, and we've made some big strides, big progress. And the bids to tear down those dangerous buildings went out to the public on their website for the month of July, and it was, I believe, closed at the end, like July 29th. Those bids are now in the procurement department, and they're being analyzed. So on who are the better demo contractors. So once those bids are reviewed, and I believe they gave us about 60 days in procurement. But don't hold me to that, because I've learned that the county works in dog years. So what you say is 60 days may not be 60 days. So, and also we have to consider that they're not just dealing with Matlacha and Pine Island, they're also working with Fort Myers Beach demolition, Bonita demolition. There's a lot of buildings that were really hit during these last 3 years that need attention, or they need to come down, demolition. So let's say it is in 60 days. After 60 days, it goes into a review with our county commissioners, and they will vote on that. So if it was true, 60 days, we're looking at maybe October, and I'll give it November. And it's voted at a public meeting. Then that approval goes back to procurement, and it is awarded to the contractor or the contractors to demolish those buildings. And it's an immediate. They don't really, these contractors, they want their money. They want to get out there and they want the work. So just to give you an update, we have, when you come right past Michelli's on the north side coming into the islands, probably about 100, 150 yards, there was the old ice house building. They tore that down about 2 weeks ago. So we're maybe a little longer, 3 weeks ago, so we're very excited that came down. Also, some buildings have come down. Some of the old shanties on the south side of Pine Island Road have come down. And if you know Matlacha Avenue, we had the pink seahorse that was torn down within the last month, and a couple houses, a house across the street that was a historic building that also has come down. So in 23, we had a community meeting at the Remax parking lot, and a list of the top 20 scary buildings, dangerous buildings to the community were given to our commissioner, Kevin Ruane, and to Lee County, and we are down to, they've worked, it's a slow process, but I will tell you that they have worked with these buildings and these owners to tear them down. We are down to 4 buildings on Pine Island Road that will be coming down, and 3 that are on Matlacha Island Avenue and on the Cocoa Plum Street. That's the historic side off of May Street. So we still have some buildings that need tending to, but of those 20, those were the most scary, dangerous. We had animals, human and animal, living in them. So they have come down. So we're very excited that we're making progress, and keep your fingers crossed. We'll get a Christmas present from the county, and this will be our present to tear those down, particularly the brown crooked house and the old fish processing cement. It used to be like a novelty tourist building. They have to come down, and the little shanties, of course, across the street. And also to let you know that the Civic Association is working with the state of Florida and the county, and also Byron Donald's office. Across the street from those is the mangroves. And although the mangroves have been cleaned up, when you drive slow, you can see that there is still a lot of damage and debris in those mangroves that have to come out. They won't bloom and be beautiful again. They need to be cleaned. So that's our big projects that are going on. Thank you.
Carol, I just want to say thank you so much at the Matlacha Civic Association, and you personally. I know you've done a lot of work to get here, and we're super. We just thank you very much.
We all the Islanders appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, and our last 2 agenda topics, the next Adopt the Road cleanup, we're getting back into that October 1st. And we also have gotten word of the hazardous waste collection that's now scheduled for November 15th. So all of that information is on the website and in the email that went out. What other topics that we haven't covered that anyone maybe wants to bring up, or comments?
Just real quick, I just want to kind of reiterate what Robert said and what we've said earlier. It's important that we have a Pine Island voice at Lee County Commission meetings and at hearing examiner meetings. On some of these zoning issues that come before us, we have a public information session here, then sometimes it goes to a hearing examiner. If you don't speak at that hearing examiner meeting, you cannot address a development or a zoning issue before the Lee County Commission. So I just want you to be aware of that. We have information on our website where you can learn how to get involved and how to speak before these groups. But it's important that I know our organization represents, a lot of residents, but I think they still sometimes only count us as one voice, right? We need to make sure we're having more people go out. And I think, as Robert said, it's also important to to be there in person, if you can, at the next county commission meeting to get this property that they've been working on for so long. So anyway, just my 2 cents. Thank you.
Okay, next meeting is October 7th, and we have our speaker lined up. We're going to have Fire Chief Ben and his team come and share some information that he has for all of us. So look forward to that. Okay, motion.
To adjourn?
All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone.